Hey, what's going on, everybody? If you're looking at one of the more portable gimbals, you should be looking at the Zhiyun Weebill-S. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Weebill-S from Zhiyun and the DJI Ronin SC. Check out my other video where I pointed out 8 things or 7 things that I think were really flawed with the DJI Ronin SC, and I wrote a pretty scathing critique of it and have a video where people are always talking about it. But bottom line is, it was too small. It doesn't handle a Sony a7 III with the 16-35 zoom lens, or really any zoom lens. It's physically not big enough. You can't do flashlight mode. It's underpowered. The motors, which it just takes too long. And I tell you what, but here I'm going to give you 2 main sections of this video. I'm going to be showing some B-roll of video that I've taken with my 16-35 or any of my lenses on the Weebill-S, but I want to give you some things that I really like about it. So here's 9 things that I love about the Weebill-S. And so first of all, it's built for underslung mode, which I think creates the best compositions and most epic footage. I had the a Zhiyun crane too, and I found myself always holding it upside down, getting it in underslung mode because it creates great footage, and it's built for that. I like what the Crane 3 looks like it's doing, but the Weebill-S does that beautifully. Now, number 2, its motors are incredibly strong that easily handles zoom lenses. In fact, I've been using the 24-70 G Master big behemoth, as well as the 16-35 2.8 G Master. I've put every lens on there short of the 70-200, and it pretty much handles it really well. Not only that, I'll talk more about some cool accessories. Hold on, let me show you this cool rig that I've got. But it's strong, which means it doesn't take that long. Now, number 3, it has a much wider clearance area, which is the most critical thing, particularly when you compare it to the Ronin SC. This provides adequate clearance, which allows you to use larger cameras, lenses, and add many accessories. You got to check out what I have on this. Number 4, you don't have to take the eyepiece off because of the clearance. That was just a little annoyance, but really on the SC, the Ronin SC, there was lots you couldn't do at all. But here you don't have to mess around with that. Number 5, the clearance and the motor capacity means it will also hold accessories like a side-mounted microphone. It's kind of fun to have a professional Rode mic on your setup. I'll show you how I did that. Number 6, the ergonomics are very good and it feels just right. Number 7, because of the large capacity and the automatic tuning, there's a sweet little setup. It goes really fast to get things set up. I can usually slap my camera on there, get it balanced very easily, and then use the automatic setup in just a matter of maybe a minute. Number 8, the battery life is very long, and the external batteries are small, and you can easily carry extras. Like I've got, I think, 12 of them now. So you can, between the long battery life and the extra batteries, it's clutch. You're not going to be worried about batteries like you would with the Ronin SC. It was actually in the handle, so it was more expensive for replacements. Plus, they were big and clunky if you were going to do it. Number 9, bottom line, it's priced really good. It's priced to go. It's just a great value. So as you can see, I'm kind of a fanboy, but there's definitely some things that I don't like about the Weebill-S. So here are 5 specific criticisms that I have with this thing. Number 1, my locking mechanism broke from having it on the side of my bag for a couple of weeks. There's 3 points that you can lock, which is really convenient, but mine broke. So I need to send it in, and that's a whole other thing. Number 2, Zhiyun instructions and documentation are always hilariously clumsy and exceedingly Chinese because this Chinese company struggles to provide clear explanations and pathways to solutions. Read the instructions, go to the website trying to get anything done. When I first bought my Crane 2 like 4 years ago, it was painful to get driver updates. You go to their website and it's like, holy cow, it's like they didn't even get a good interpreter to get things right. And you can just, it's exceedingly Chinese, which is fine. They make great things. They do good stuff. Sometimes gets lost in translation. Number 3, I have no idea how to actually get this warranted. Again, I go to the website, I look at things, and it's not super clear. We'll get it figured out. Number 4, for both the Crane 2 that I own and the Weebill-S, I've struggled to get the right cord and camera settings so that the buttons would work right away. It takes more screwing around than what you'd think. In fact, I never actually figured it out on the Crane 2, and I opted to just hit the button on the camera. I wasn't using the settings on the gimbal itself. Each camera has a specific protocol. So each camera that you use is like, you turn on the gimbal first, then you turn on the camera, then you plug it in, or you plug it in first, then you set it up. It's just not as slick and easy as I would hope it would be. I ended up getting it figured out, but it wasn't as intuitive, and I'm pretty techie. Like I can figure just about anything out. So again, it seems like you have to stumble through the dark. their customer service on their website's mediocre. Number 5, the compact handle that you would hold, not the flashlight mode or the underslung mode handle, but the actual handle houses lots of buttons. And while they've created a good menu system to prevent inadvertent changes, it still happens. Every once in a while I'll be doing something and I've moved the gimbal around because there's so much crammed into this little compact handle. So those are some 5 criticisms. Now, real quick, I want to talk about some cool stuff that I've been able to do with the Weebill-S that there's no way I could have done this. So number 1, it's compact enough to throw on a side bag, and you can actually carry this thing with you. It is very compact. Its shape can be a little awkward, but for the most part, it's absolutely amazing to bring along with you compared to the other options that I've had. Also, it's still extra equipment, so it's not. I don't always bring it with me, but I can throw it onto one of my smaller bags as long as it has a side bag on it, like a tripod or monopod bag. You could throw it in there very easily. Now, number 2, the battery life is absolutely amazing, and the extra batteries are incredibly practical to throw in the bag and carry with you. I often go on walks with the Weebill-S and put my 16 to 35 2.8 G Master or the 24 to 70 G Master on it, and I go for a couple mile walk with my family or just go in the outdoors. And one zoom lens gives me stupid amounts of flexibility, and I like that. I like to be able to use a zoom because I'm not just stuck with one prime, which is why I like the Weebill-S. I can easily throw it in a large bag or a smaller backpack if I want to, but I find myself just walking around with the gimbal in underslung mode. Like, I don't have to throw it in a bag. I can actually just keep it on. I've gone on multi-hour long walks with my massive lenses on it, and it hardly ever turns off, and it just keeps going. I get remarkable battery life, and I also have a ton of extra of these batteries, and you can just throw them in your bag. They're super easy to carry with. So that means that you won't miss shots if you don't want to. You can just keep it on the gimbal and walk with it. It's actually pretty ergonomic as well. So number 3, it's able to accommodate a cage and a microphone. So I've got these small rig cages. I've got a full cage and then a half cage. I use the half cage. If you have a great microphone and you want to use it whenever possible, the Weebill-S payload capacity and the wide frame allows me to put my Sony a7 III in this cage. By small rig that I have, it's a half cage, and I've added a cold shoe on the side of it, and then I can actually balance it with the microphone on it. That's how powerful this thing is and how wide it is. Seriously, this balance is just perfect. It doesn't destroy battery life. It lasts a long time, and then it sounds really good. It is fun to use. Now, number 4, adding this handle that I got from Small Rig. Small Rig sells an amazing little handle, and then it has a screw on the top to put the small HD screen on it. I have the 5-inch small HD external viewfinder. Now, we know that the tilting screen of the Sony a7 III, like, that's garbage. It's not nice to flip out, right? So I've experimented with a couple different setups, one with the side screen, but this top handle is awesome. So again, I've used this side mount for the Small Rig Zhiyun Weebill-S kind of goofy rig, but it leads to the gimbal being difficult to hold because it's really side heavy. While the side mounting bar allowed me to see what I was doing, it did work. The side mount makes it harder to keep level and leads to hand fatigue really quickly, and your shots aren't as stable. Now, on the other setup, this thing is superior. You've got this small rig straight handle coming out the back, and it's great. You throw the small HD monitor on there. It makes it so easy to use. So between that small rig handle, the small HD screen on there, and with the small rig side cage or the half cage, you're able to even have an HDMI holder in there so that the cable doesn't come out and get dinged up or anything. It is a really cool setup. When you throw all that on there, it's not super lightweight, but I tell you what, it's a lot smaller than most of the other gimbals you're going to have. I would highly recommend checking this thing out. If you don't own it, you should. It's awesome. I love it with my Sony a7 III. And I tell you what, I'm becoming a fan of Zhiyun's products. They're kind of goofy sometimes working with the customer service, but overall, I like what I'm seeing. So thanks, subscribe if you like this, and good luck.